Companies that don't invest in the future, right? Whether you are a 1,000 rupees business or a 1 crore rupee business, companies that don't innovate, that don't change the market needs, will fall, unfortunately. Yeah. In India, what happens is that the industrious guy with the 1,000 rupee business turns it into 1 crore rupee business. The guy that's 1,000 rupees and just 1,000 rupees, he stays in 1,000 rupees. And it's all right. I mean, you don't have to be rich to be happy. But if you think that you can keep surviving on a 1,000 rupee business, that's crazy. The perfect example is Nokia. I mean, there was a time 20 years ago where Nokia meant phone. If I buy a phone, I'm buying a Nokia. And this was not true in the local market or the Indian market or the national market of other countries. But globally, if you look at the global economic scenario, the mobile market was only with Nokia. Today, they are nowhere to be found. There was a time when BlackBerry came into the picture, and then BlackBerry is no longer in the picture, because Apple came into the picture, right? What happened was mobile devices started becoming accessible to people who didn't need to do technical work or important work, or it could just be a form of entertainment. And when that change happened, guys like BlackBerry, whose main focus was business, lost everything. Nokia just stopped innovating after BlackBerry. Once BlackBerry came, they were already gone. Once the smartphone came, they were finished. I mean, they lost everything. And in a way, you can say it's all right. Bad businesses go out of business, but think about the number of employees Nokia had. Even in India, here in Chennai, we had a manufacturing plant. Nokia employed, I think, 5,000 people 20 years ago. It's empty today. It's empty. Nokia still owns the business area. Just so you know, the Swedish company still exists and they still own the location, but there's nothing there, and it's fascinating. We think about businesses succeeding and failing, What about the people losing their jobs because of it? It's sad, but that's the reality. The business place is very competitive. Today, it's not enough for a businessman to just look at local markets, Indian markets. He has to start looking at international markets too. They're making it very difficult to do business. Now, I'll give you that. And government should never make it difficult to do business. Government should try to make business as easy as possible with very little red tape. Collect the taxes. Tax big corporations heavy, no problem. But in terms of red tape, in terms of getting things done, make it subjective. If it's a health inspection, of course you can take your time. If it's not a health inspection, and it's something that's very just process related, if it's inefficient, remove it. These are things that, of course, the government has to do, but we cannot blame the government all the time. I'm one person that blames the middle class only. I admit I'm also a middle class guy. I don't have any investments in local businesses, but I'm actively seeking out, ways to invest. Unfortunately, the best business to enter into for a novice is the coffee industry. Unfortunately, it's so flooded that at this point, I don't know. I don't know if it's worth entering that business. But of course, a lot of people make good money starting franchises, doing great business. A lot of people work hard and they make a lot of money in these businesses. There are shops out there that don't charge 10 rupees for coffee, but 20 rupees for coffee. And those businesses do well because you look at women, right? So women don't go to those small petikada because men go to those petikada and smoke. So women are like, okay, I don't smoke and it doesn't look safe, so I'll just go and pay 20 rupees for this premium coffee. And they do it because they realize that I cannot go to Cafe Coffee Day and pay 120 rupees. That's preposterous. Even for a woman, that's preposterous. I cannot go to that shop where all the guys are smoking. So, even if it's 10 rupees extra, I'm going to pay for it. And you know what? Those businesses, they are kind of doing well in Chennai, and they're actually expanding the business all over. The concept started more or less in the northern part of Chennai, in the more industrial locations, office locations, and today it's moving into everyday residential areas, moving populations, on the outskirts of highways and all these places. And it's interesting, but it just absolutely shows how important it is to, be creative. I mean, these guys are charging twice. They rent out the same square feet area as every other coffee shop on the planet. I'm sorry, in Chennai. All the particular shops, they take the same square foot area in the same localities. They just, have neon signs, great painting, wonderful staff, just decent looking guys, good cups, branded cups with their brands on it, which is amazing. When they do business, they give a bill, they keep it professional, and guess what? They charge double. They just charge 20 rupees. People buy. I mean, I know places where these guys at 5 o'clock are full of business. You cannot talk to them normally. You have to be quick. You have to be fast. And that's the thing, right? Most people are not looking for 120 rupees coffee from Starbucks or Cafe Coffee. They're just looking for a place where I can just chill out, not worry about a difficult crowd, but get good quality coffee. And if you can offer me good quality coffee and it costs me 10 rupees extra, I don't mind. I don't care. Because the experience is much better. I can bring not just myself, I can bring 5 of my girlfriends. I'm saying if I'm a girl, I can bring 5 of my girlfriends, and it's all fine because it's all safe. The environment at least looks safe, So it's interesting. Hopefully, policemen don't go and take bribes from those places. Hopefully, and let the business do their business. Yeah. But I mean, it's a fun thing, It's crazy. I mean, it's such a great idea to think about it. Right? Does the price of coffee inflate? Of course it does. Coffee just became 20 rupees for women and 10 rupees for men. Yes, prices do inflate. But the prices have to inflate because salaries have to inflate. If salaries don't inflate, what's going to happen is we're going to be in the same rabbit hole we are right now. Today, a person that enters into the IT services cannot buy a house. If he has to buy a house, he has to put a 30-year loan. 30-year loan, just think about that. That's all of your adult working lifetime. Most people work from 20 years to 58 to 60 years. And if you take a 30-year loan, that's basically your whole adult working life. It's fundamentally crazy. It's so crazy. I have to cringe at it. But if this has to improve, there are only two options. One is banks have to stop giving stupid loans to builders, developers, real estate agents, who are basically overvaluing property, taking humongous loans, meaning they're leveraging property that is worth 10,000 rupees at 70,000 rupees, and inflating the price of the market. So now that one person has sold that property for 70,000, the person next door is like, wait a minute, I can sell this for 70. See, that's what happens, right? That's how you inflate the market. You inflate the market when you leverage the property with loan and debt. It's crazy. It's cringeworthy. Unfortunately, that's how it is today. In Chennai, you need a 30-year loan for an IT guy. Now, the reason why I take an IT guy is because the IT guy is most probably getting paid middle to slightly middle to high, slightly middle to high. If a middle to high guy needs a 30-year loan to buy a house, yeah, then we are royally screwed. Royally screwed. Hear me? Royally screwed. Because what that means is that the poor, the lower middle, the flat middle, yeah, they're never going to think about buying a house. And you know what? That's terrible. That's just terrible. Now, I would say that one of the reasons why Chennai has got high prices is because the demand for houses is so much, but the supply of it is too little. The supply of it is not too little because there are less houses in Chennai. The supply of it is too little because the population of Chennai is too high. Yeah? So when compared to the population, supply is too less. It's interesting, all these concepts, but yeah, we're getting royally screwed. It's crazy, people say that inflation is good. Yeah, well, you have no idea what you're talking about. Inflation is terrible. Think about it. A guy that saved 10 rupees 70 years ago was a big deal. People, I think, could probably pay 1 week living expenses with 10 rupees or 2 weeks. I don't know. During the independence time. Today, 10 rupees gets you, a tea in a place where people smoke. Well, I shouldn't be laughing, but yeah, I don't know, man. This is crazy. It's crazy out there. It's just getting on the edge. People are catching on to the fact that the economy is not working. This is why people have to realize that the economy is not working because we are too reliant on the global economy. The Indian economy has to start functioning on its own. The more you are relying on exports and imports, yeah, that should tell you everything about the economy. Our trade deficit is high, meaning we import more than we export. Well, okay. What does that tell you? That tells you that we're not exporting anything. That's okay. But if we're not exporting anything, we shouldn't be importing anything either. We should be producing for our people. What we're doing is we're not producing for our people. We're not exporting. We're importing. We're not a manufacturing hub. We are just, people living on debt. Our governments are swimming in debt. And you know what? The World Bank, it's giving more loans, more moratoriums. It almost looks like the World Bank, the United Nations, wants to bankrupt India and then take over everybody, because they're like, wait a minute, that's 1 billion population. If I have them in my control, that's going to be great. That's going to be great, isn't it? This is why the middle class has to stop just working for themselves and working to build the economy. Gotta build the economy. Thank you for listening. Consider liking the video and comment if you have an opinion. Subscribe if you'd like to see more videos of this kind. Thank you.